Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. This is a school board workshop and the time is 1 p.m. At the moment we have two items on the agenda, summer learning opportunities, followed by the agenda review of April 23rd, 2024 regular agenda. Per board protocol for discussion, we're going to aim for 4 minutes with a follow-up of 2 minutes for a total of 10 minutes. At this point, if we're ready, Mr. Superintendent, we're going to move on to agenda item number 1, which will be summer learning opportunities, if you want to present.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. So I just want to take this opportunity to recognize our tremendous staff from Academic Services who is here to present to us today. Very hardworking closing on the school, but the year never ends because the learning continues. It is a year-round endeavor, and you get the chance to hear a great deal more about it today. So very privileged to have them pick up the microphone from here. So ladies, take it away, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Although there are 3 of us here, Ms. Amy Burke, Ms. Candace Elevato, and myself, Lori Halchin, we have a lot of team members sitting here. It takes a ton of team members and a lot of departments to pull off summer learning, and so they're in the audience in case you have questions as well, and we thank them for their partnership. So our overarching purpose or objectives when we're planning summer learning opportunities is to look at continued learning so that we're avoiding that summer slide that we hear so much about. Looking at promotion requirements and credit recovery so that we have on-time graduation. Looking at targeted support for students who still have more work to do to be able to meet grade level standards and objectives. Looking at credit advancement, we utilize programs like Leave Virtual School to let students accelerate their learning and possibly go to high school with some credits earned already. One area that you'll hear a lot of increase about is our opportunities for enrichment. Typically you think of summer learning as summer school for kids that just need to catch up. But in meeting some of our strategic priorities, when we looked at our goals, we were like, we need more programs for students who maybe are advanced learners and they need enrichment opportunities to kind of spark that interest in other areas like in career and tech education, and then remediation as well. So when we're planning our offerings, we're looking at these 3 objectives that are strategic priorities. So in objective 1, we're trying to improve in subject areas across all student groups, which is why you saw that increase in enrichment. So you'll see things like ACT, SAT camps, you'll see advanced math camps, you'll see the SOS camp, which is providing internships, things like that. So it's very well-rounded. And our objective 2, we're trying to increase that on-time graduation rate. This is where you'll see a lot of our remediation efforts, our opportunities to catch students up so that they can cross that finish line on time with their cohorts. And in objective 3, we're trying to accelerate learning for college and career. So these are where you'll see advanced math camps, STEM camps, that Leave Virtual that we talked about, and some more efforts in science as well. So some highlights from our summer 2023 offerings, and we looked at what went well and what didn't go well, and you'll see that that impacted some of our decisions for this summer as well. We served 14,979 students, I'm not a math person, sorry, from kindergarten through 12th grade. We offered 22 unique learning opportunities in our camps, and they were at 27 locations in all zones, across all zones in K-12. In addition, our schools also were hosts at 6 different sites for the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Clubs. 8 of those learning opportunities were virtual in addition to the 22 that I just mentioned. For our credit recovery, we had 445 credits that were retrieved in grades 6 through 12 that will help with that on-time graduation. In addition, this was a new endeavor this past year, is that we provided book bundles to our kindergarten through 5th grade students. Those had like some learning activities with them, and they were able to connect with a teacher once a week. So that was a new endeavor. We had virtual like science experiments, and so for every student that signed up, they got the science kits to take home, and then they followed along and did the science experiments with a teacher through a virtual opportunity. And then, of course, we have our state required programs, which is our third grade summer camps for promotion, determining whether students can move on to fourth grade, and then our extended school year as well.
So as Ms. Haushin just concluded in our summer 2023 learning opportunities, now we're going to move into what are we doing at the close of this school year. So our schedule for this summer is going to begin on June 11th through July 18th. We will be offering the programs Monday through Thursday. Something new for this summer that you're going to notice on this slide is there are 2 sessions. As we know, transportation continues to be an opportunity, and we want to be able to afford more summer learning across our district. We made a decision to host a high school session that will run from 7 to 11, and then we'll have an elementary and middle school session that'll be from 9 to 1. This will allow our drivers to have a morning route and then be able to pick up our elementary and middle school students, still allowing and affording our community the opportunity to have transportation to the locations you're going to hear more about. We will recognize June 19th and July 4th as holidays, and then we'll conclude our summer school with testing opportunities July 15th through the 18th for most of our sites, but we'll run all the way up to July 23rd for our graduation camps. So students will have all the way up until July 23rd to conclude with state testing. When we talk about assessments, which students will take at the end of the summer, we'll look at third grade good cause. This is for our students who may have received a level 1 on their progress monitoring 3, which they haven't taken yet, and don't have another good cause. They'll attend our summer programs and have an opportunity for a good cause again at the end of the summer. Our students this year, it's brand new, our grade 10 students will also have the opportunity to take their FAST assessment for graduation purposes. This will be the first year that the state's offering that. As we have in previous years, we will also offer our end of course exams. That's going to be our algebra, geometry, biology, and US history EOCs. And again, just wrapping up, that transportation will be provided to all of our face-to-face sites. So as we're going to hear a lot of information today, it's important to discuss, well, what's the communication been? At this point in time, all families across the district have received communication regarding our summer programs. Some of the mechanisms in which that has happened is personalized invitations. Several of our programs are very specific to student invites. So they were personalized out by district school messengers and then from the school. We are also today having a peach jar go out. Last night, a school messenger went out across all families for programs that are impacting all students there. And when we conclude today's presentation, we're going to look at a website which families can go and view at any point in time to see what those programs are. So now launching into this year's offerings, we will have 17 face-to-face summer programs at 33 sites. So you will notice this is an increase of sites from what we had last year. We are reducing, though, the number of virtual learning opportunities that we have. So as we continue to look and refine our processes, we notice we needed more face-to-face and a reduction in those virtual. We will continue to offer credit recovery at all of our secondary sites. We have also increased the number of school sites that will host for YMCA and/or our Boys and Girls Club. Again, we'll offer our state required programs, and then one more year, this has been a great success with our elementary students, we will send home every kindergarten through 5th grade summer reading books, and they will be able to engage in online instruction with teachers. So kicking us off with our elementary programs, you're going to see on the next several slides tables that align back to those 3 objectives in which Ms. Haushin discussed. You'll also see which ones are required programs. You're going to notice this very first one has a cap there. So an offshoot of the work that we've been doing with Carnegie and our Lee County Portrait of a Graduate is we know that graduation doesn't begin when they step foot on a high school campus. It begins when they enter our buildings in pre-K. So this has really become a pre-K through 12th grade initiative. And because of that, we've been able to add new programs. The first one you're going to see here is our second grade family event. On May 11th, second grade families are being invited here to the district office where they'll receive materials to work with their child during the summer around phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, and comprehension. So they'll get a hands-on training that day. 8 assistant principals across our district will then run the program over the summer where they will touch base with these families. So this is a brand new initiative for us that really came out of our work that we've been able to do with the Carnegie Foundation. We'll have our third grade reading camp, which this is for any student on their Progress Monitoring 3 that scores a level 1. And that is a state statute. You'll see there it's a state required program. And this is for those students who may not have had a good cause.
Fourth grade ELL Science is offered to Lee County English language learners in fourth grade who would like to increase their science knowledge in an interactive and fun environment. The lessons are based on Florida state standards and are taught by certified teachers with support from bilingual paraprofessionals. A pre and post test will be given to those students to determine growth over the summer.
That fourth grade sensational science is all about hands-on science. If you've had the opportunity to see any of our elementary science team do their live investigations, it mirrors exactly that. So families sign up and say we'd like to engage in that. Fourth grade students are sent home with hands-on science materials, and then they log in with members of the elementary science team during the summer to conduct those live investigations. So this is all about building that background knowledge. As we know, fifth grade is very important in terms of science for our students, so we begin to provide that experience for them over the summer.
ELL language program focuses on developing academic language in English and targeting content area knowledge. Students engage in daily oral practice ranging from social to more complex academic topics. Students who participate virtually will work on individualized learning paths determined by Imagine Learning. The summer program will have a pre and post test just like the science program did, and also we've added an educational field trip to try and increase attendance. Extended school year is determined by a student's IEP team. ESY is federally funded through IDA grant, and districts are required to offer ESY to qualifying students. Progress reports are given to students who attend based on their individualized and identified goals. South and East zones for summer school are combined due to the number of students that attend in those zones and also for our resources. If a student does not attend the first day of ESY, our schools call parents to ensure that they know that they are still can attend and can attend throughout the summer. Invitations have been sent home both by the student through the mail and through their email. We have included a QR code on our invitations so parents can respond using the QR code, which has increased our response rate. If a parent does not respond to any of those, the teacher does reach out to those parents and make sure that they have been given the opportunity to attend. Our students who attend ESY may also qualify for one of the other programs that are being offered, and the parents have the decision of if they would like to attend those or not.
So the next one you'll see there is that kindergarten through fifth grade scholastic reading. So similar to our fourth grade sensational science where we send students home with science kits, here we're sending home students with books. And they're able to connect with teachers virtually using our Connect with Lee platform. So Tuesdays and Thursdays during the summer, students can jump on, be with a certified teacher, and it ranges from anything with a kindergarten student who's coming in and it's a read aloud to our fifth grade students are discussing a chapter book. So the books are posted the week before. That message goes out to every kindergarten through fifth grade family. So this one you don't have to pre-register for. You're going to receive the information information. Wednesdays are unique because Scholastic provides us with a workbook that has activities. So on Wednesdays, when the students log in, if they choose to, they are working through a workbook, Fundamentals, that the certified teacher is engaging in with them. The next one is our virtual programs, both iReady and Imagine Learning. This is differentiated learning paths specific to what students need. So as they work in these two programs throughout the school year, they can continue working in them over the summer. So it's at their own pace. They've got someone at Google Classroom they can check in with, but again, it's differentiated to begin and work on those skills that they need. You're going to notice another cap here, our Jumpstart Kindergarten program. We all know we've been in those kindergarten classrooms at the first week of school where we're volunteering. This is an opportunity for students to come in to the school prior to. It's open to all of our schools as an option. It does not mean that all of the schools have it, but it is available to all of our schools. It ranges from anywhere from 1 day to 5 days, as our elementary schools have the flexibility to meet their needs and our community. The other one that you'll see here is our VPK Head Start. This program is meant to be for our incoming kindergarten students who have not sat in VPK at all this school year. So this is a summer VPK program for students who will be in our kindergarten classrooms next year, but they have not had VPK at this time.
ELL summer programs will be offered to middle school students in grades 6 and 7 for science and all grades for ELL language. ELL Science will have students engaged in activities that will allow development in both academic language and scientific inquiry skills. The summer students who participate virtually in the ELL language camp will work on individualized learning paths determined by Imagine Learning and the addition of Mango languages. This program offers our families 5 additional accounts for them to engage and have an opportunity to learn English as well.
And then we have our 6th through 8th grade STEM, which is open to any middle school student. They are provided hands-on learning activities, such as at one, it's a pharmacy tech called the Zombie Survival Camp. Another one is about vehicle and digital design, the Dunbar Derby. And then we have, we partnered with the Aldrin Foundation for Rockets and Rovers. Now, we don't do this by zone because we want students to do this by interest. So they sign up for whichever of the STEM camps they have the most interest in. So that is how that one operates. Then we have our advanced math camp. So that is open to any incoming 6th, 7th, or 8th grader who is proficient already in math. And so, as you know, those students move on typically to get a high school algebra credit by their 8th grade year. So we want to be sure that we kind of jumpstart our first quarter learning. So they're doing a lot of, we use the building thinking classrooms in mathematics, so they're doing a lot of learning games, math learning games. It's pretty fun to watch them. It is very popular, and we only opened registration up at the end of last week, and we already have a wait list. So we're in the predicament of trying to find more teachers to be able to service the students who are interested in that camp. And then we have a band camp in each zone, and that's for any student who's currently playing an instrument. I visited this last year, and so I had a fake smile at the beginning of the year of the camp, because you can imagine students from all over who've never played together who are now learning to play 4 to 5 pieces. But at the end, when the parents and the community were invited to attend, it was amazing just in that short time how well they did together, gelled together. The leaders, the orchestra leaders, did a great job with them. So we're repeating that camp this year. And then credit recovery is just our traditional students who in middle school, they have to pass every core class to be able to get to high school on time. So this is our opportunity, one more opportunity for them to retrieve that credit. They actually don't earn credits, but they have to successfully complete that course to retrieve a grade, I should say.
Information about extended school year that was previously shared is the same for middle school. Middle school students who qualify for ESY will access their programs at the high school sites to maximize our availability of resources.
And then Candace spoke with you about the iReady and the Imagine Learning and the individualized path. That does go through 8th grade as well, and basically they just pick up where they were in the program, and it accelerates them all the way through. So it's targeting any deficiencies, or it's pushing them forward. So it does serve as enrichment for some of our students and remediations for others.
Lee Virtual School is providing acceleration opportunities to all Lee County grade 8 students, including rising 9th graders, to increase academic success and obtain high school credits in Spanish 1 and 2 and Hope, affording them the opportunity for additional options during their high school career.
So now looking at our high school programs here, we know that as students transition into our high schools, that's a big year for them. So offering an algebra and biology camp to incoming 9th graders. So we partner up with our middle schools, and this one's by invitation, and we invite them to work on foundations, hands-on in both algebra and biology. It is not a sit and get camp, it's all about project-based. So everything they're doing here is integrating those two subject areas, and it's also giving them the opportunity to get acclimated to their high school campus. In addition, as Ms. Houchin discussed, we have credit recovery running at our high schools as well. This is one of our programs from our learning. It is coming back to face on all of our high schools. So we understand that importance, and it's in all 9th through 12th grade. So this is not just an individual, but it's for any student in 9th through 12th grade that needs to work on credit recovery. I'm not sure what student doesn't want to work on driver's education during the summer, work on getting that. So we do offer that across our traditional high schools. Those do have a different schedule than most of our programs, and it's by each high school. That information is on our site for our families, and we always point them back to their schools.
At the high school level, the ELL summer program provide an extension program for our seniors to earn their ELA concordant score to meet the graduation requirement. They will engage in multiple opportunities through the 4 pathways provided during the summer to obtain a required score. Extended school year will include students up to grade 12, plus students who have deferred their diploma for career and post-schooling life skills. All previously information shared about ESY applies to high school as well.
So for our graduation pathways camp, this is unique for individual learners, and a couple areas are rolled into here. This is for any student that they may not have earned their algebra EOC requirement, where they're coming in and it starts after July 1st, and they are working on algebra skills to take that algebra assessment and earn that graduation requirement. They also will work on geometry, since that is a concordant to meet the algebra. This year, again, as we talked earlier, is the first time the state is allowing our students to take their grade 10 FAST assessment again. So they will also work on ELA skills. So for students, this can look different. If I need both assessments, then my day is split, where I'm working on math in the morning and ELA in the afternoon, so I get that. If I only need math, then I'm only focused on math, and if I only need ELA, I'm focused on that. In addition, in this graduation pathways is last year legislation put into play that for our LY students less than 2 years in an ESOL program, they have the opportunity of meeting their ELA requirement in alternate pathways. So during the summer, they're able to come in and work on the skills they need, and they have 5 different opportunities that we afford as a district to meet that grade 10. So that is part of our graduation pathways, but it's tailored again to the student's need and what they need for graduation purposes. Imagine Learning does continue, so as you heard from elementary school, middle school, you'll notice iReady is dropped off, as that's a K-8 program, but Imagine Learning does run all the way K-12.
Lee Virtual School is providing acceleration opportunities to all Lee County student groups to increase graduation rates in core courses, Spanish 1 and 2, Hope, and driver's education.
As you heard Lori talk about band camp, percussion camp is about the same. So we have one site, it's Cape Coral High School, and students come from all over the district to engage in this camp here. And by the end, they are performing together. So just as you heard there, when they first start, they're learning each other, they're learning that music, and by the end of that week, they've really developed those skills. The final one that you see here, supporting our students, which really works on objective 1 and 3. And we have a whole slide on this one, because this is our community-based initiative that was built to align with Florida's resiliency education standards, that character, personal responsibility, mentorship, citizenship, and critical thinking and problem solving. So it is our college and career readiness program. You'll see there the core courses in which are included that students are working on. This program has been marketed to all rising 8th graders and 9th through 11th graders in all zones through communications with school administrators, school counselors, our college and career specialists, and a podcast which aired on Lee Schools TV on March 9th. Additionally, district personnel has been to school sites to recruit students during their lunches and assemblies. So by providing the opportunity to all students in every zone, this is why this one really aligns back to that objective 3 of our college and career pathways.
One addition we wanted to mention is that we have Title I schools who had additional funding. So we looked at opportunities to increase summer learning for the students at that school. So you heard that all elementary students are getting the Read at Home books. So we use the funding differently than for elementary so that they are able to take some hands-on math kits home, and they'll get guidance on how to use those and get support as well. But to increase the math skills, since we were already sending home reading books. In middle school and in high school, we use this funding to provide summer reading for our students. We were very strategic in our title selections because with the new BEST standards, they have an appendix at the back. And at the back of the appendix are all of the readings and novels and excerpts that could be on a test item. So they actually have to use 30% of those items. So all of the selections are from that BEST list. We plan to do book trailers to kind of spark the interest. They're going to get the books, but we want to ensure that they read. We are going to send home a parent flyer to try to get the parents to interact with the students through discussion questions. And we'll be doing some activities, like reading activities that are engaging. So for example, one that I was just working with yesterday is the Trapped, How the World Rescued the miners there. So giving them some background information on what that's like, what it was during that time, and any safety improvements they may be evaluating, which company has the best safety guidelines to be employed. So opportunities like that.
Our community partners, the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club, will provide 7 weeks of summer learning programming. Enrichment opportunities will include recreational activities to improve children's physical fitness, as well as educational field trips such as safety around water, learning to swim, arts integration with the Alliance for the Arts, and the School of Rock. Each of the participating community organizations have programmed literacy and STEM learning activities to address summer learning loss, as well as opportunities to develop positive, meaningful, and healthy connections with peers. We have increased our number of school sites in 2022 from 6 to 8. Our schools will include Challenger Middle, Varsity Lakes Middle, Cypress Lake Middle, Trafalgar Middle, Oak Hammock Middle, Lemuel Teal Middle, Three Oaks Middle, Bonita Springs Middle Center for the Arts, as well as our other sites, the Boys and Girls Club of Lee County and the YMCA of Southwest Florida.
So we know that we've shared a lot of summer learning opportunities with you today, as we have with our families. So a lot of information has been going out to families. We also have this one-page flyer, though, where it takes them back through all of the information and what is available to their specific student. So this flyer at the very bottom of it has a Learn More, where it takes them to our summer school information site. So we're going to jump out live there for a moment. So you can see it takes all of the programs in which we discussed today and we put it in one place. So depending upon the level of your student, you're able to go in and click and see exactly what's available here. So if we go back to middle and we look at that advanced math math camp that Lori was discussing, you'll see the information that's here that has our dates. Same thing for any of our ELL camp, our extended school year, the arts. So we wanted to have everything there for families when they're going back and say, I know I received a school messenger. Where did that school messenger go and where can I find it? It's here. This information will also be linked to our district page as a banner in the upcoming few days. So with that, we will turn it over to our superintendent.
Thank you, Candace. Just want to give a very special thank you to our team. You can see there's just such a tremendous amount of work that goes into not just putting all these programs together, but also the outreach that has to go along with it, as well as trying to make it accessible to our public. You know, one of the things we're always striving to do is to try to get this information out earlier and earlier, as we know parents and families really have to try to make a lot of their summer plans. Of course, some of those are dependent on the outcomes of how students perform during that academic year, so that's a challenge. Additionally to that, one of the other things that I wanted to make sure to add is that the team is working hard to try to evaluate the quality of where the impact of these various different measures are having. And that's a body of work that is, there's still a long way to go, but it's really to ensure that we are getting the most bang for our buck in terms of this huge array of offerings. But one thing that I really appreciate the team pushed on when we have done these presentations for cabinet is the importance of enrichment. That sometimes, you know, these data points of moving test scores, getting graduates, it's very important. It's our core business of work. But sometimes it's really allowing students who already are doing quite well to enrich their learning and deepen it. As you've heard so many of our student liaisons that come in and sit up here and they talk about winning robotics challenges and cross-collaborative occurrences at schools, that's really where education really shines. And so some of these opportunities and these resources we're providing to parents, such as take-home kits and so forth, I just want to make sure I shine a light that those quantitative metrics are very important, but so is that passion and joy that we want students to take and families to have as well. And so just a big thank you to this team for all the hard work that you've done, and we stand ready to answer any questions that you may have today.
Thank you, Dr. Savage. Board members, questions, comments? Mr. Persons.
Just for clarification, when it says like middle school, I noticed that when you went on down, it said incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th. I don't know if parents might not even get to that next phase. They're just thinking, my child's in 5th grade and he won't be in 6th grade till beginning of school year. I don't know if there's maybe a better way to, or a more prominent way to.
Yeah, we played around with rising. We thought that was worse. Incoming. For that particular camp, remember, we're inviting, so those invitations will go specifically to that 5th grade, but we'll look at that language before we put that banner up for the camps that are open for everyone. So thank you for clarifying. Yeah, we have been toying with how to make that clear. Yeah, we could just say current 5th, 6th, and 7th as well. So.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Jordan.
Were you looking at my notes? No, just kidding. I wrote that question down as well because I was kind of confused on that too. Was it the present grade or the incoming, and how does one decide which, child's going to do whatever? But thank you for explaining that. Also, and then invitations, when you're saying invitations, so my question was, who is being invited to this? Every 5th grader or every?
That depends upon the camp. So again, in the math camp, that's going to be our proficient math students, because that is trying to get them on that accelerated path. If it's credit retrieval, it's going to specific students who are in the boat of needing to recover a credit or recover a grade to be on time for graduation. And so What we do is we work very closely with communication, and we provide the list and we provide the message. So it goes through school messenger, and then our schools also know who's invited because we're following up very carefully, especially for the credit recovery.
And that one I understand, but I want to make sure that because when I hear that certain children are invited, and we are a large district, who are those that are invited to come and participate? And how do we say, okay, we're going to have these programs, but it's only going to be for these children and not these children? And then I look at, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I think about that, and then I am curious too, because some of these camps or things that we're doing, as you mentioned, we already have a wait list. So where does how do we already have a wait list when we're just starting this? And when did the invitations go out? I just want to make sure that we are not isolating any children from these places. And I know even when we mentioned all the boys and girls, YMCAs, it was all over. I know there was one in Estero area, well, kind of like south, but I do think they have a YMCA out there. I just have so many questions that because of the fact that I think these are great programs, really great programs, but I want to make sure that we are making sure that every child is going to be able, or the majority of our children, we're going to be able to do something with them. That's my question, and that really weighs on me.
So I want you to think about the totality of the offerings, because that is one thing that we really increased, because before it was really about students who needed to catch up during summer school, and by providing the enrichment opportunities, so in STEM, for example, anybody can sign up regardless if they're proficient or not. In the math camp, it is for proficient students because the other students have deficits, and which they have another program to kind of build on those. And then and so that's kind of how we spread our invitation. So some is going to all, some is going to specific, so that we can target every student with the specific need or enrichment that they have.
The only other thing I was going to add to it, which Lori really did, is there are camps that are offered to every program. So if we went back and we marked our programs that go out to all learners, a majority of our camps do go out to all learners. It's very targeted for select camps that there's invitation only. So building upon algebra and biology, it would only be offered to 8th grade students who are sitting in pre-algebra right now because they're going into algebra. We wouldn't offer that camp to a student in middle school who already completed their algebra course because they just finished that coursework. They would not receive what they need during that program there. So, but the majority of our camps do afford all learners. It's only a select few where it's invitations only. On the website, it said that. And again, that goes back to Lori's. It's based upon what that program is providing, that it would be specific. And then it goes back to when Lori mentioned we have a wait list. We have to work on hiring staff as well. So that wait list might get whittled away if we have more teachers that say they would like. So while Lori has a wait list for advanced math, I have plenty of openings for algebra and biology and high school. So the shifting that and getting the word out there, but it's all depending upon how many teachers we have to be able to run those programs as well.
So we did our numbers from last year, and that's kind of what we gauged. But cabinet actually said, entice them, say that limited spots available, that sometimes that does that urgency, and I guess that really worked because the numbers are really increasing. So now we will be looking for more teachers to be able to take students off the wait list and get them entered into the camp. So we're just trying to improve as we go.
No, and I'm sorry, just one more, and I do appreciate that very much, but even this morning I was at another meeting and they said they had a STEM camp, but it's for 50 kids. So when you take out all the children that we have here and 50 kids, that's like, blink your eye, it's gone. Those 50 spots are gone. So I just want to make sure, that all this information is disseminated. Everybody has the opportunity to at least apply and try to get into it, where it's not just as where they will never be able to reach that. That's my concern. And with Hope and Spanish 1, Spanish 2 virtual, Florida Virtual has offered that. It's been ongoing. So thank you for adding that into our virtual. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Was it Ms. Patrica or Ms. Morgan first? I know you both had your hand up, so, okay, Ms. Morgan then.
Well, I just have to say, wow, this is transformative work that you all have done. I mean, essentially what I'm hearing is a step towards year-round school, because you're trying to provide to a broad spectrum of students opportunities that meet their needs, their desires. It's not every student's going to want to do it. They're going to have other plans for the summer, but this is just, to me, wow, a huge change from where you all were last year. And it's just really, to me, it's so impressive. The quality of communication, the project-based orientation as opposed to the sit in the classroom orientation, the family engagement, starting this whole notion in the summer of engaging parents and creating the expectation that parents will be asked to participate not only year-round, but laying the groundwork with people who are really interested in, this is awesome work. I thank you. I thank your leadership, Dr. Spiro and Dr. Cupid McCoy. Great work. I mean, I have questions too, but I'm just, great work. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Patrica.
So, you stole my thunder a little bit, because I think it's awesome too. One of the benefits that I have sitting in this seat for almost 8 years is to see the progression, and this is by far the most robust summer offerings that I've seen in all the time we've been here, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I do have question, kind of comment things. The SAT, ACT camps, I didn't see those in the presentation. Are they enrichment, remediation? Are they to be used for concordance scores? What is the purpose of those, please?
It's to be used for concordance scores, so we run it with our Connect with Lee program, and we're able to maintain that throughout the summer as well. So that is just an ongoing component, and it's specific for students who are still trying to earn a concordance score for graduation purposes. That one is not limited, though. We start in with 10th grade students as well, so it is different from our graduation pathways. That is specific for 11th and 12th graders only.
So I'd love to, if I may, plant the seed of Bright Futures and how enrichment could help kids, if we could identify who those kids are. My kids have been blessed with principals who knew what their SAT scores were and pushed and pushed and pushed until we were able to get those. I mean, not all of my kids were able to do it, but you get the point. They had that motivation inside their building, and I had the resources to pay for a tutor. Not all families have the resources to pay for a tutor, and that is, talk about transformative work, being able to get a kid to a position where they're now 100% Bright Futures when they couldn't otherwise afford college is a big deal. So I want to plant that seed if that's okay.
We've been doing it during the school year. We actually have one more on Saturday, so I'm saying that out loud. That way, if we have families who are listening, we still have seats available for this Saturday, and that is both for enrichment and then also students who need it for graduation. So there is a link on our ACT, SAT Connect with Lee page. Every high school principal has it, every assistant principal, and we'll be sending it out again tomorrow. So students can sign up, and just for that reason, they come for 4 hours, and if they need to improve their math score, they work specifically with a certified math teacher. If they're looking to improve their ELA, they do that. So this year, for the first time, we did run it the last 4 months on Saturdays. So we will look to include that and offer more of those opportunities as well. But shameless plug, I still have seats open for this Saturday, 8 o'clock here at this building.
Excellent, thank you. And if I may, my final comment is slide 12, you talked about the high school credit by the 8th grade year. You don't have to go to the slide. I just wrote that in my notes. A caution for parents. I know a student who's graduating this year who will not graduate first in class. I know we don't do valedictorian because he got a B in algebra in 6th grade. You know, like, had he taken it in 8th grade or 9th grade, he would be valedictorian of his class, but because he took it in 6th grade and he wasn't ready, he was ready. I mean, a B is great grade, but do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not sure families really understand the risk, nor do they fully understand their child's potential at that age. So I just sort of throw that out there as a cautionary tale. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Mrs. Juvenelli?
Thank you. I really appreciate this presentation because, so I'm a student that took driver's ed. I went to Riverdale, but I took driver's ed at North during the summer. And so, and then I did band, we had band every summer, but that was at the schools that I was attending. I didn't get to change, which was actually, Ms. Houchin, you mentioned that. I actually enjoyed going to North and learning, just meeting new people, and I remember that was an experience that was, I will never forget it, actually. So my question really is, though, the driver's ed, is that being offered at every school or just certain schools? And how that, and then the transportation piece of it, how is every transportation being provided to every, how does the transportation work with going to different schools and so forth?
They have to provide their own transportation for driver's ed, and we don't have it running at all of our sites as some of our driver's ed teachers are retiring. So we've partnered them up with a sister high school. So that information went there, or I'll use Riverdale since you use that one as well. With construction going on, all of the summer programs for Riverdale High School will be housed on Lehigh Seniors campus. So it's Riverdale's teachers, Riverdale's students on Lehigh. So anywhere we didn't have a driver's education teacher because of retirement, it is being offered through a sister high school, but transportation needs to be provided for that one. And the hours are unique for each of those high schools based upon driving time. So families are directed to communicate and work directly with their school.
Thank you, because I was just curious how that was going to work out.
For the STEM, because it is by choice, they would provide their own transportation to that as well. So anything that they're choosing to go across a zone or to a different location, if it happens to be in the same zone, then we would easily be able to provide transportation. But if they move across zones, they would provide their own.
Okay. I think you answered my questions. I was just curious about that. I think it's a great opportunity to cross the cross zones and the band kids hang out and meet each other. It's just a great, the collaboration is great. So I think that's great. So thank you.
Mrs. Langford Fleming.
Thank you for putting this together. I think that from an educator's perspective as well, someone who taught summer school at a different site, it was an opportunity not just for me to meet students outside of my zone, but also to meet other peers. So that's a great point, Ms. Giovanelli. So I'm going to shamelessly plug that teachers that want to teach summer school, this is just a really great, it was a great growing experience for me. I was at a campus that I had never stepped foot in, and completely different type of student body than what I was used to. So that was actually a great growing experience for me as an educator. You were talking earlier about how verbiage can kind of hook someone using limited seats. I think that it'd be remiss for me not to say how brilliant it is to call these camps. I mean, kids sometimes I don't want to go to summer school, but I'll go to summer camp. And so I think that was a great idea, personally. So, I mean, keep that. I actually found when you were going over all of the programs, I mean, this is something that the public school can offer that many of our private schools in the area can't. And so this is an opportunity for students that wouldn't have it in another educational facility had it not been part of Lee County. The Jump Start to Kindergarten, great. We have so many kids too that their parents, especially moving in, are ELL families or ELA families that cannot, that can't even get them to VPK, right? So I think that's another great opportunity. I wanted to talk really quick though, or a question I had was for last summer, we had data that stated how many students needed to receive their diploma post-graduation and attended classes or schools, if you can you remind me how I know we had, after our graduations, we had seniors who did not meet all the requirements. Can you just talk about that a little bit and what this summer may look like if we have run any numbers on what we're looking for, how many students might have to take part in that?
So for last summer, we can get an exact number for the board weekly update of how many there. For this summer, where we're at right now, we're in the midst of our national assessments. So those numbers fluctuate every single day. Today, we are getting in scores for our classical learning test that took place last week. So it's hard at this time to be able to say where we are. In 3 weeks, as we get a little bit closer to seniors' last academic day, before we go into commencement ceremonies, we'd have much cleaner numbers. So if we're able to provide those in a board weekly update in approximately 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have our national assessment data back. We will be in a place where fourth quarter grades are finalizing, and we'll know how many students are really going to need that additional summer opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I'd love that. Thank you so much. Great work, the whole team.
Okay. Kudos to our academic team. I have one comment. I know we're close on time, so just wanted to see, and I talked about this a couple months ago, and you guys are doing a ton. I really appreciate that. Maybe if we could look in the future, some more exploration of either partnering or with us, some trades camps. I know one that was brought up to me, I guess, was Train to Gain was one. Or at least that I believe is maybe after school during this year, but maybe some more exploration of those elements for, you know, some of the kids that are involved in our technical program. So it's just a general comment. So, but that's all I have for now. Anyone else have any other additional comments or questions before we move on? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to item number 2, which is agenda review. Whenever you're ready, Dr. Savage.
Thank you, Chairman. And thank you again, Academic Services team. For the very first question that we have is related to Human Resources Consent J1, which is approval of personnel recommendations. And the question was, why would someone move from HR to Professional Standards Coordinator? Reached out to our HR department, and the answer was that the Professional Standards Coordinator position was eliminated as part of the HR transformation. So that was the specific position was the Leave of Absence Coordinator position was open, and the particular staff member interviewed and was recommended for that position. The next question is under the operations consent items, L5, approval to renew ITN number N207392RC, which is the generators purchase, maintenance, and repair. The questions, I'm just going to read a few of them here because they're answered holistically. I see that some are being removed. Are those being replaced? What are you doing with the ones being removed? I was told we have a generator in transportation in Mid-South. Is this repairing or replacing the old one with a new one? And why are we not supplying generators to the West Zone, Leonard, and Buckingham compounds? Okay, so just to answer that, the Manatee Elementary School and the Tree Line Elementary School generators are being removed because the county is putting in new larger generators for these locations, specifically as part of the Hurricane Shelter Hardening Grant. So it's just larger and more robust generators. So those same generators that are being removed from Manatee and Tree Line will be brought back to maintenance services and repurposed for backup use applications. Currently, OPS is exploring the best options in repurposing those 2 generator units. There is also a generator at Transportation Mid-South, as you mentioned in the question. That new generator project will be to upgrade their existing generator, which is in poor condition and reaching the end of its useful life cycle. Transportation West had a generator for those fuel stations that was installed last year, so that's not included for that reason. The Leonard compound also has a generator for the fuel stations, and an office that also works for their office data systems as well. The Buckingham compound also had a generator for the fuel stations that was installed last year. Okay, the next question is under item L6, and that's the approval to negotiate ITN CN24-0139TA, which is the public-private partnership, our P3, and that's to build Hector A. Caffarata Jr. K-8 school. So the board member question was, please explain this partnership. Per the ITN solicitation documents, the district is looking for a turnkey solution to build a K-8 school on the district's roughly 31-acre site with outstanding elevations, excellent life safety and traffic attributes, along with a high-quality, modern, energy-efficient, full amenity, and aesthetically pleasing, environmentally friendly design build. And this is for a minimum of 1,600 student stations for a K-8 school, all within our commensurate with cost per student station values. With a delivery opening date for school year August of 2026. This public-private partnership model is being used as an attempt to reduce the overall time to complete the project. The project does not involve any private financing or equity arrangements as part of its partnership. It also does not involve long-term facility management. The second part of that question was actually how many vendors put in a bid, and unfortunately due to board policy 6324, specifically the cone of silence, my understanding is we cannot provide an answer until that cone has been lifted on that particular element. Okay, so there were a few other questions, but these weren't specific to the board agenda item. They were just more general to specific elements, but we'll provide those answers as well. The question was, does this eliminate the need for the 2 tanker trucks that we own and that we did not have hazmat drivers for when the second tanker was purchased and sat for almost a year before being finally towed to Lee County from the other coast? So just due to the size of the district and the number of schools that become shelters during declared state of emergencies, at least one reliable tanker is required to service the needs of the district, but also the requirements of those said shelters. The follow-up question was, can you update me on the driver situation, or do we still have no drivers? The update on that is that currently the district does not have a staff member who has their hazmat endorsement, but the supervisor of garage operations has passed the required test and is waiting for the background check to clear. The district has proposed a stipend for the mechanics and the shop supervisors as an incentive to also try to get their hazmat endorsement. This is still a part of the discussions and bargaining as well. Those are the only questions that we received at this time, so we'll turn it back to you, Chairman.
Ms. Juvenelli, do you have follow-up?
Yes. Thank you. So, and the reason why I asked, I'm back on the generators, the reason why I asked about the generators, because I was told that the South was the only one that had the fuel generators for the fuel for, and so you're just telling me, and I just want clarification, you're telling me that the West Zone and Leonard both have generators for their fuel?
Yes, that is correct. They both have generators for the fuel, and the Transportation West was actually installed last year.
Thank you, because I was told that they did not have that, and I was asking, that was a question that I asked recently several times regarding, when it was regarding the two tankers, and the reason for the second tanker was because there was no generators at those other 2 zones. So thank you for the clarification. I'm not sure why I was given wrong information, but thank you.
Okay. Anything else from any other board members before we move on? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to move on to good of the order. So, board members, we'll start with Ms. Juvenelli. Do you have anything?
I'll just touch a little bit, so I won't have to say so much this evening, but I attended several events recently, and I know our schedules are all really busy with a lot of things going on, so I'll just touch on a couple because I was trying to write them down and I'm already starting to forget some of them. I went to Edison Park. They had a performance that my granddaughter was in, I don't know, Friday, maybe not last Friday because it was a Friday before, I believe, and that was more of a dancing and very cute, very cute. They do a great job there at Edison Park with between their dancing and singing, and I would highly recommend anyone that would attend because they do a great job, and the theater's a little old school and it's really cute. But I think what was really spectacular is I also attended the Lion King Jr., which I think Miss Jordan was at because my granddaughter saw you, but I never saw you. But on Saturday, and that was spectacular. I wish they would do a little more performances because I wish everybody had the opportunity to go because it was excellent. I can't even express how well it was. The costumes were unbelievable, and they were all made by the students and so forth. And then just to touch on the Golden Apple Gala, recognizing all our teachers, and is just a wonderful opportunity that most of us attended the other night, and it just puts everything in perspective of why we do what we do with the students that come in and announce their teacher and so forth. So it was just a great event, and I just wanted to thank the community for that opportunity. Thank you.
Ms. Patrica?
I have nothing for good of the order, thank you.
Ms. Jordan?
I will do mine. I have to put mine together, so I apologize, but I just want to say with the North Miners High School, they actually had the elementary schools did a field trip, so just about every elementary school was able to go there and see that show, which was really nice. They filled up the auditoriums.
Mr. Persons?
I just want to thank the board for allowing me to go to the Advanced Finance Forum in Gainesville. It was very knowledgeable. Came back with lots of questions for finance, but I'm quite sure we're doing everything correct. But I didn't even know to ask questions such as we went into, especially on investments and security. They went into it. So next time they offer it, I hope other people will be able to clear up their schedule. I know it's very difficult. I had to rush back just to make the Golden Apple, but it was well worth it. And thanks again.
Ms. Langford Fleming?
I'll just save mine for later this afternoon. Thank you.
Ms. Morgan?
I have nothing for good of the order. Thank you.
And I have nothing. Attorney Dupree Bruno?
I have nothing, thank you.
Dr. Savage?
If you'll indulge me, just a couple things. The first, I just want to apologize. I had wanted to have the information that you received just prior to this meeting. I had requested from our CFO just some basic historical context regarding compensation and so forth longitudinally, just so that there's a total board that you have that additional information that I requested upon being in this office, just so that I'd have some of that context myself. And I just felt that it would be important to share it with you as the governance teams you have that. You are perfectly able to follow up with our CFO directly if you have any specific questions on any of the information presented. But I just want to make sure I mention that, as well as just with our Evergreen study, that there's just tremendous work. Just have to credit the administration for really pursuing this work and how powerful that has been as we kind of dig into that. And so there's just a lot more to go, but wanted to make sure at least you had that piece of information that I wanted to share with you today. Just to kind of nod on the Golden Apple ceremony, we certainly just want to thank the foundation. Not only did they put together a big event at that Golden Apple, but a lot of events lately today. Earlier today, with Take Stock, where we're actually issuing scholarships, mentors for our students. There's just a lot of real powerful outcomes. So I feel like I've seen a lot of the foundation folks event after event after event. So just a real big thank you to them for celebrating our teachers. But I also want to put a special nod that tomorrow is Administrative Professionals Day as well. And so some of the unheralded folks that also help make our schools go, as well as superintendent's offices go, and the board offices go, and every other office that we have and every other facility that we have, we could not do the work without those individuals as well. And so just because we won't have a chance to acknowledge that tomorrow, and I know the board meetings, the action meetings can sometimes go long, I wanted to make sure I had that while they could all hear it. Just how much we appreciate them. We look forward to recognizing them tomorrow, but also wanted to recognize them at the dais today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Savage. We will have a board briefing meeting today at 2:30, followed by a student performance at 5:45 p.m., followed by a board action meeting at 6 o'clock. At this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objection, this meeting is adjourned. The time is 2:02 p.m.